In this video, we're reviewing a 2005 Dodge Dakota Access Cab ST with 127,000 miles on it. I'm gonna show you 3 things you gotta look out for if you're considering buying this truck. Coming up next. Okay, so let's talk about the exterior of this truck. And this is a Florida truck, so you shouldn't have any rust or anything like that, but we'll talk about, let's start here with these window moldings. This just dry rotted over the years, and there's not a lot of sun damage to it, but this is a lot of heavy dry rot. There is a tiny bit of rust up on the rooftop, which shouldn't happen to a truck down here in Florida. Sunburn on the paint, I get, but some of these things should not have happened. Here's a couple of things that fit and finish of this truck. Now, this truck's never ever been in an accident, but I want to show you a couple of things. Headlight, it's all loose. It's just over the years, these things get loose. The metal, it sounds just thin to me. When I hit the panels, it sounds real tinny. Let me show you something crazy on the fit and finish. Watch this side, watch my fingers. I can stick my fingers all the way down to the front on this side. Come around the other side, and once again, this truck's never been in an accident. Same hand, I can't even get my hand in here, down this whole side right here. So this is just a fit and finish thing. It's just a couple things that I'm not a fan of about a Dodge Dakota. I like a Ram a lot better, but that's just my personal opinion. But these are things that you could just clearly see as far as fit and finish goes. And if you're gonna keep a truck for 15, 16 years, this is something you wanna watch out for, especially if you're buying this truck used right now and it has over 100,000 miles on it. These are the things that I want you to look out for. So let's take a look at the other side here. Same thing with the roof. I've got more corrosion up on the rooftop back here, starting to bubble up on this side. Coming down the rest of the side of the vehicle, everything else seems to be okay. These guys haven't fallen off, which sometimes these things get loose over the few years. This is the biggest thing you gotta watch out for, is this tailgate. Make sure this thing closes, because it sounds crazy, but a lot of times these handles fail and don't close. Speaking of failing handles, let me show you something over here. So when I got this truck, this access thing would not open. So I had to have these cables right here replaced on both sides. Brand new cables, you can probably see down in there, had to be replaced on both sides. So why would a cable on the inside of this door fail on its own on both sides? I didn't get it. My mechanics have told me they had to take apart the entire door. It was, a couple hours of labor to get in there, take it apart and fix it. These things you got to look out for. Just make sure if you're buying it at the access cab, make sure these doors open. If they don't open, you might as well just put aside a couple $100 for somebody to take apart this panel, replace the cable in here. And actually, we couldn't even find a Dodge cable. We had to use a Ford cable on the inside to make this mechanism work again. So we still had an access cab truck. So let's take a look at the inside. Go. All right, so let's talk about the interior fit and finish. I'm a big handle guy. This guy right here, a little bit on the loose side, is not coming off, which is the good news. The other handles seem to hold together pretty well. This does not have power windows or anything, which is great. These are not built to last, but in this interior, they actually lasted really well. So pleasantly surprised about it. The driver's seat where I'm sitting at, kind of hard to notice, but there's actually this seam, but on the driver's side, actually split. And I get that. I mean, a lot of vehicles that happens to after 15 years in and out, it's going to split. So that can actually be easily fixed just because it happened right on the seam. You could restitch it on the seam. One of the crazy things is when I got this truck, flushed the transmission. The transmission was flushed, and then we thought we had a transmission issue. The transmission had to be reprogrammed. They had to actually relearn the transmission when you change the transmission fluid in this truck. Because when it shifted in a second, it was like, it's like a hard shift. You could feel it in the wheel in the whole truck. We reprogrammed the transmission. They said to drive 200 miles to make sure that it actually accepted the reprogramming. Hopefully that should have worked. It seems to be shifting pretty smooth right now. A couple other things that popped up. So watch out the transmission on this vehicle. And this right here is a wonderful Dodge sound. Let's see if we can get it to happen. I promise you it's not hamsters. It has this wonderful sound in the AC that when I change it, when I turn it up a little bit, it's the selector. It's actually the setting for the selector. Once I have it set there, it should stop. Like it just stopped, but it took about a good 15 seconds of this sound. Not a good sound to have, but it does go away. It's not something that stays on all the time. It comes on mostly when you start up the vehicle, or you change the bi-level position of this here. So if I went to the floor, didn't come on now, but if I change one of these positions, I notice it came on then, or it seems to come on when you start up the vehicle. Really odd, a little bit strange. Watch out for that. I also have a tire pressure warning light that's on. The reason for that, the reason why that light's on, because actually all of the tire pressure monitors did fail. So look out for that. If you're okay with the light on, don't worry about replacing it. If it bothers you and you got to replace it, you're looking at a few $100 if you replace all 4 of them to get somebody to do it properly for you. You can get the parts aftermarket, not a big deal. Other than that, on the interior, other than the AC making funny sounds, the transmission, the doors, the truck is fair. It's not that bad of a truck. It's a fair truck. You know, I'm a visor guy. The visors did hold up. They did what they're supposed to do. Pretty much everything else in the vehicle, the seats are not moving on their own or anything. So I look at stuff, as you said, when I do these reviews, I want to show you what a few years of wear looks like and what you got to watch out for. So hopefully this has been helpful. And let's go take a peek at the under the hood to see if there's anything else we can find out there. So last bit, engine compartment. I am happy with the engine compartment of this vehicle. It's not like a Nissan Frontier. Or a Ford Ranger. You get underneath here, there's wires all over the place. The thing's a whole big mess. But just looking at hoses and cables, the only other thing I did replace under the hood here was the serpentine belt. So we put on a brand new serpentine belt. So clearly that looks great because that's brand new. It was just put on, a few days ago. Battery, obviously a newer battery. But as far as all the components, it being down here in Florida, nothing's leaking. There's no dry rot on the hoses, which I'm pleasantly surprised. I mean, these are the original hoses for the vehicle. Everything else, held together really well. If you, sometimes I see these vehicles and the wires are just, the whole, like this entire underneath the hood just wore out, just bad. This right here actually didn't do too bad. So I'm pleasantly surprised underneath the hood and the way everything is all put together. So yeah, looks good. Okay, to recap the 3 things that we found on the 2005 Dodge Dakota, things to look out for. Number 1, watch out for those rear doors. As I talked about before, make sure that they are opening and you don't have to pay a few $100s to get these rear doors to operate properly. Number 2, look out for the transmission. If it's shifting hard, you may want to just have somebody, to save yourself a few $1,000s, may just have somebody look at it and have the transmission be relearned, reprogram the transmission. And of course, the 3rd thing, look out for these AC blowers. It is noisy. If it bothers you that much to get whatever that selector is happening in there, get that replaced. But if not, if you can live with it, it's not too bad of a thing. But my overall rating for this truck, just a couple of things that kind of irritated me a little bit. It's a fair truck. I would give it on a scale of 5 stars. This is about a 2.5 star truck, 3-star truck, in my opinion. That's my rating for the truck, how I feel about it. But hey, if you like my videos and you like everything I put out there, please be sure to like and subscribe, share it with everybody, and we'll see you in the next video.